the thing you mentioned for the personal use and of AI, I think that's the part of evaluation of the AI systems. It's good to ask repetitive questions by the AI when it comes to work and when it comes to the personal use of AI.
AI for workplace is very different from personal AI. Right? Like what you want in AI for productivity, it's quite different.
How the mobile version of your Banza is working currently for the user side.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you touched on like two beautiful things over here about Google and Apple, which are basically the main people behind Android and iOS. I bring this up because like when I search something about personal AI,
let's talk more about what exactly the four was defined about the Banza.
Right. So on that part, right, like I think
somewhere between curiosity and fatigue, he noticed something subtle. Intelligence isn't the same as understanding. Work tools can interrogate you. Personal ones shouldn't. Our guest today keeps cycling at that gap between systems that ask better questions and companions that already know you well enough to answer. Not louder AI, quieter. Trained on your habits, your shortcuts, your indecisions at lunchtime. Built patiently over months of research, not flashes of inspirations. Today, our guest Aditya, the co-founder and CTO of Banza, and this conversation is really about one thing. What happens when technology finally stops asking you to explain yourself?
So, well, hello, Aditya. How are you, first of all?
I'm doing great, Lakshya. Thank you for asking. What about you?
Superbly great, well energized for the day too. And it's amazing how the Web Summit Qatar has placed the event, like it's shuffle for the small or the startups, the alphas and betas every day for next 3 days, right? So you give the opportunity to present as an exhibitor for one day and to roam around and talk to different exhibitors on the leftover 2 days. You had the booth yesterday, right? How was your experience for the overall day at when you walked in? You started presenting and talking to people. There were multiple booths over there having big paragraphs of description, but you had just one liner over there. So, how was the overall experience for you for the first day?
Yeah, for sure. I think kudos to Web Summit because the organizing team here, they've organized a wonderful event. I've been to quite a few different events. In all honesty, I've been to some more on the Web3 side of things. Like the likes of Dev Connect, DevCon in Bangkok, and few others. And I must say, the scale of Web Summit is way bigger than what I imagined to be. I'm pleasantly surprised, and while this might be my first, Web Summit that I'm attending, it certainly won't be the last. I'm quite confident that we'll be back, hopefully in Lisbon this year, if not next year here in Doha, Qatar itself.
And regarding is much bigger than this.
Yeah, I've heard about that. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we can make it later this year over there. And yeah, regarding the booth by itself, it's a privilege, being here because one, you get to spend so much time with other people who are on the same roller coaster journey as what we find ourselves in as a startup. Absolutely. So we get to kind of like empathize, learn more about it, how they're brainstorming, how they're thinking about things. And we were just joking about yesterday. We watch a bit of I'm personally a Test cricket fan, so we're kind of joking about like how yesterday was all about the defense, today's a bit more about the offense. We had the booth yesterday, so we were kind of sitting back waiting for others to kind of like come to a booth talking more about it, and like you said, we went confident if the strategy of like having just 4 words on the big banner is going to work well for us or not, but 4 words worked very well because it got people's curiosity up about what an AI twin is. They kept, approaching us, asking about what really it is, and we had the opportunity to explain to a lot of attendees here, a lot of partners, a lot of fellow, startup founders as well. We, had great conversations, exchanged some contacts too, and hopefully we'll be having some, conversation the following weeks as well. But yeah, it was great. A lot of good defense there on the first day of Test cricket. I think today's day 2. We're hoping to approach more people at their own booths, talk to more, them about what they are building, understand a bit more about it, and see how, synergies and all things are possible.
Wonderful. I'm glad that you had such a great experience at the day 1. Let's talk more about what exactly the 4 was defined about the Banza.
Absolutely. So I'll actually start on a different topic. I think right now it's Jan 2026. OpenClaw, or what was called previously, Moltbot. I think before that was called Clawbot. A lot of different names have gone around it, has taken over the internet by storm, right? It's kind of like becoming really popular and trendy over here. If we step back and actually analyze the whole scene, one thing is becoming very clear and apparent, and I think you might agree with me, which is that AI for workplace is very different from personal AI. Right? Like what you want in AI for productivity, it's quite different. Claude 4.5 Opus, the model it's brilliant at, kind of helping you with software development, and which is why it's gaining so much traction, popularity. People are building things, giving it its own PC, allowing it to go, quite crazy with OpenClaw. All that is happening, which as an engineer, personally, I absolutely love to see. Right? But it becomes increasingly clear that the same 4.5 Opus is not probably designed for a personal AI experience. I have it on my phone. I've tried interacting with it, but personal questions, it asks me more questions in return. If I just be like, hey, can you suggest me some movie to watch tonight? It's asking me more questions than actually giving me a response. Yes. And that's great for workplace, right? If I'm trying to build something, I want more questions, because with those increasing number of questions, I get clarity on what we're trying to build. So if you're trying to build some kind of a really cool, let's say, customer support application, it asks me questions, I gain clarity on what you want to build. We build something much better in reality. But when it comes to something like personal AI, if I just like the universal, dilemma and conundrum, what do I have for lunch today? If I ask that question, I expect in personal AI to like give me a response, not ask me more questions in return. I'm probably already having like a quite a stressful day. I'm not trying to think hard about like, should I be having that? Should I be having this? If you ask me more questions, I'm feeling I'm being interrogated in some kind of a, prison cell almost, right? In all honesty. So the whole requirement for personal AI is not actually the most intelligent model. What you really need is an AI experience that's tailor-made for you, like a bespoke model, something that's trained for you, it's built for you, it's designed around your actual needs. And that's kind of where we see ourselves positioning, right? About the concept of an AI twin. The concept of an AI twin is exactly what it means. It's basically an AI that's designed to be personal, not to be extremely intelligent in asking you questions and interrogating you, but rather intelligent in a personal sense, where it understands you in a cross-platform way. It understands the movies you watch. It understands, what kind of things you like to shop, what kind of, food you like to, order in, or perhaps go out to a restaurant and, eat. Maybe the kind of places you enjoy visiting and traveling. It understands all these different things and essentially has a multi-domain understanding of you. And on the basis of this multi-domain understanding, it acts like a perfect digital companion to you, a digital extension of you, if you will, right? And is able to basically perfectly fill the role of what personality is meant to be, quite literally. It's not meant to be the productivity engine machine that's, what 4.5 Opus is, but it's not the bespoke. It understands you. You never have to explain yourself. And on the same note, right, prompt engineering, it's great when it comes to, workplace and something that's complex, productivity kind of driven environments. But when it's a personal environment, you don't really want to prompt engineer. You just want to say something like, suggest me something, and just get the appropriate, perfect suggestion. You don't want to over-explain yourself. You don't have to feel like, I'm this person, I enjoy this particular color, I like doing these things. It's almost like each time you're giving an interview, you're kind of over-explaining yourself and trying to help the model understand who I am. But that should be solved with personal AI. That's the goal, what we're trying to position ourselves towards, and why we're building, the whole concept of AI twin. And if I may also add, Banza is actually not the result of a clever idea around AI twin. It's actually the result of a lot of hard work, research and development that we put into it. So we've been at this for several months now, almost a year and a half actually. And we've thoroughly spent a lot of time in understanding what the problem really is. At the technical level, at the actual user level, the needs, what people really have. And around this, we've designed our own proprietary ingestion system, our own proprietary training algorithms and methodologies, as well as the ultimate agentic layer itself. And the result of all of these things is what you see today as the Banza mobile app.
Wonderful. I mean, the thing you mentioned for the personal use and of AI, I think that's the part of evaluation of the AI systems. It's good to ask repetitive questions by the AI when it comes to work, and when it comes to the personal use of AI, it's easier when I just pop my phone up and ask Gemini, hey, what's the nearest restaurant, or I want to eat something crazy today, just suggest me. So the Gemini already has a lot of data about me, and they can suggest me depending on what my previous track record was and give me personalized suggestions. And that's where I think Apple is also moving in. They recently partnered with Google for their series upgrade. I think Apple is going to soon have a good upgraded Siri. But that's where I think that you guys come in to take the leap before them and make the personalized AI twins for people. How the mobile version of your Banza is working currently for the user side, not just the business side. We'll talk about the business later.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you touched on like two beautiful things over here about Google and Apple, which are basically the the main, people behind Android and iOS. I bring this up because like when I search something about personal AI, all the news I see, I mean, for better or for worse, whenever we think about AI in general, we look west. That's California and San Francisco. We see what's happening over there, what's happening in Silicon Valley, and what they're also constantly thinking about is wearable AI as personal devices, right? Personal AI being like some kind of a pendant or some kind of a suit pin that you can wear, and all that is very novel and interesting. But ultimately, there are 5.8 billion mobile phone users, and all of them are either on Android or iOS. And if you really want to help the need of the hour, basically give them an AI personal AI experience, it has to be via mobile app. Right? It cannot be some kind of a wearable device that they have to further go on and purchase. It has to be a mobile app that's available for them, that is easy to access. We spend a lot of time on mobile phones, right? It only makes sense. And that's the reason, like you said, Apple is trying to move in the direction. Google has been taking a lot of, undertakings to kind of move in that similar direction as well. And we have, from the day one, had absolute clarity about this, which is we have to build a mobile app. We're not focused on a web application. We've not tried anything else. We've gone straight into the mobile app world. And over there, we've put in a lot of effort in optimizing things for the mobile phone itself, because there are some hardware limitations. You cannot really do as many things as you can on potentially a desktop or a laptop. You have more hardware capabilities. And on that note itself, we've actually made a lot of research and advancements in seeing how some level of personalization can happen on device, because it makes it more secure as well as maintains your privacy as well. So we've actually put a lot of research and development effort in that part too, which is making it easy as well as extremely secure. And like you said, we are quite confident we have a head start on this. Of course, Gemini and Google, they have access to one big thing called Gmail, which they're using and leveraging to personalize things. But thankfully, so we have our own few things up our sleeve which we are using to help personalize the AI experience. Essentially, any digital app you use today, you can have your AI twin on Banza trained on that. It could be anything virtually. If I talk about the Indian context, it could be Swiggy, it could be Zomato, it could be Book My Show, it could be your apps like Instagram, your Reddit, your X accounts, it could be your YouTube, it could be your Netflix, whatever the case might be. Right? In Middle East over here, I think Talabat, Nunu, quite a few people, apps are popular. Virtually any application that you can think of, we can add support for it in a very short period of time, in less than 20 minutes, if I may. And at the same time, that also means your AI twin is extremely well aware of all your different preferences, your likes, your dislikes, and truly becomes a digital version of you. Not by understanding a few little things that is available on, here and there, a few pockets of application. Because if you just think about it, right, of your 100% of your life or 100% of your digital life, if you will, and you have 100 apps that you use, each one was a slice of you, like 1% of you.
Absolutely.
And what we're trying to do is unify this whole experience under one single place where you get an AI that's fully trained on all of this, an AI twin experience, which feels personal to you, is very secure, and at the same time extremely easy to use.
So it's like sort of you played the game like Notion, because that's their main USP. They try to have the integration of most of the available work-related applications in the Notion ecosystem, right? So you're trying to do it in the AI version of personalized things. What about the business side of Banza?
Right. So on that part, right, like I think no pun intended, but the notion behind building a great business is actually around understanding the requirements. It's all about a supply demand game, right? Ultimately, you try to understand the user needs, the needs of the market, the needs of the ultimate customer you're trying to cater towards, and then try to build a really good solution around it. That's the almost business 101, if you will. And we are here at Web Summit right now. My guess is that we are around 20,000 people over here, approximately.
More than that.
Maybe 30,000 attendees over here. Let's say you want to build some kind of a solution to all the entrepreneurs, right? Like entrepreneurs are the early adopters of technology ultimately, correct? Yes. If you build something really cool, you may not see the general audience adopting it, but the entrepreneur and everyone, that's going to go for it. They are the early adopters of the market. They move the needle ultimately. So it's going to be a great idea if you had to interview 30,000 people, understand what they're looking for, understanding maybe something as simple as what kind of a work OS they would like. That's not actually simple in all honesty, but maybe something like what the ice cream flavor they prefer. All of these things, you could get the inputs from them and build, let's say, an ice cream business, or you could build some kind of a Notion 2.0, some alternative to Notion. But to do that, you have to interview them. Talking to 30,000 people in, let's say, all 3 days across the entire Web Summit is still very difficult to do. But here's where Banza comes in, where talking to the AI twin of the user takes just a few milliseconds.
Yes.
And the idea is that you can talk to 30,000 AI twins in just under a few seconds, in just a few minutes, if you have a longer query. Where I'm coming from is essentially we built a market survey system where, since my AI twin is fully trained on my preferences, it's fully aware of what I like and what I dislike, we have businesses right now trying to run their entire market intelligence and understanding, basically, doing just gauging the status quo of the market, understanding what's really going on through surveys which are being answered by AI twins. And this can happen at a very large scale. You can have 200,000 users in just a few minutes answering a survey. If you're like, let's say Steve Madden, the women handbag company, you're trying to understand what kind of a new line to put forward, or perhaps you're trying to figure out which celebrity to hire for promotions. They can just easily run a survey specifically targeting a certain group of people. It could be the young adults, it could be the millennials, whoever the case might be. Target them, understand what they really prefer, and based around that, actually build the whole product. And all it's doing here is basically 2026 kind of a revised version of what surveys have always been. Surveys have always been talking to the user, understanding their needs, and kind of trying to build something around it. And one fundamental idea that's always been accepted is that the more users you speak to, the better your survey will be, the better your product will be. That's kind of like the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Talking to more users is very difficult. It's expensive. It's time consuming. I've even heard about the fact that some businesses spend billions of dollars on this. Plus, it takes nearly 6 months to complete a survey. And by the end of 6 months, the entire results are almost invalidated because it's been so long since you first begun the survey itself. And with Banza, we completely solve this problem, wherein in just a fraction of the cost, as well as a fraction of the time, in a few minutes, basically, you can survey a million users potentially, and then get the full insight about what users are really preferring, what they're trying to do. And as a user myself, since it was my AI twin that basically took the survey on my behalf, I get benefited too. The benefit here is I earn different rewards for the same purpose. And because of this, whole business model that we put together, the Banza app remains completely free as well. So while people are paying $20, $40 for these AI subscriptions, Banza app, is committed to be completely free, and then provide an experience that's fully personal to you. At the same time, that's truly rewarding to you as well, because the AI twin is out there earning for you, doing all this work for you. And then it's basically the same always traditionally accepted idea of like conducting surveys to build a good business, but being given an AI twist to it.
Great. So we understood the user side. Let's jump to the business side of it. What exactly is Banza when it comes to business?
Right. So traditionally, one thing that's always understood is that to build a good business, you have to talk to your users. That's the ultimate goal. And one way this has always been done is by conducting user surveys, speaking to the users directly. So we're at Web Summit here right now. The best thing to do would be talk to 30,000 entrepreneurs. I mean, entrepreneurs are ultimately the early adopters of technology. So you'd like to talk to them, figure out maybe what can you build for users that are actually going to immediately adopt the solution you put together. And it could be a great thing to try to talk to 30,000 users, but it's extremely difficult to do.
Absolutely.
However, if we bring in the concept of AI twins over here, right, as a business, it's going to be very easy for you to just have an interview or perhaps a survey filled out by the AI twins of the end users. And because these AI twins are completely trained on the preferences of the users, what they like, what they dislike, they're actually extremely capable and in fact even more honest and giving genuine responses than the users themselves. Users have sometimes biases wherein which they may not answer honestly, and it could also just be that they're in a hurry. They're trying to answer something really quick. But none of those limitations are applicable to an AI twin. Plus, an AI twin is perpetually online. It's your digital version. It's always available to answer a survey even at midnight while you sleep. And that means as an end user, you put in no effort, you put in no hard work. Your AI twin, it's trained on already what you like and dislike. It's going out there, completing all these different surveys on your behalf, and you keep earning rewards for it. So the Banza app remains completely free for the end user. You get a personal AI twin that you can benefit from, gives you great suggestions. And as a business, you're able to talk to 100,000 users in just a few minutes and actually understand what they want, what they're interested in, and build an entire solution around it. Not based on, potential ideas and fantasies, but grounded in real, user consumption, actual consumption patterns, actual consumer intelligence. You can build a beautiful solution. And all of this is basically just an AI twist to what user surveys have always been. And we are very proud to announce that this product is almost live. We are in the beta phase right now, talking to some potential customers, having them try it out. And we'd love to basically have more businesses try the hand at this, potentially experiment with it, and get the value that we are hoping they will, saving a lot of budget that they potentially would have put towards just understanding the users, and at the same time even saving valuable time in building a solution that really matters.
Thank you so much, Aditya, for giving us the insights and this wonderful solution. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the event as well. And cheers for the Banza.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Lakshya. Take care.